Do you know the football, where the football is now? Used to be, so the gasworks there. Well, the gasworks were gone, but the premises were still there. And some of the old store places, or workshops, had been leased out to the Southants Hospital. Now the Southants Hospital neurological department, which dealt with all the head cases. The chief doctor there, Dr. Morris, she was friendly with the boss of the gasworks, and he gave her one of these workshops to use as a rehabilitation centre for her patients. So the job I got down there with another bloke who came from AC Dalco, who worked opposite each other. We were supervisors of the workshop down there, and these patients recovering from strokes, depression and all that sort of thing, and schizophrenia, all that. They were employed down there doing silly things, like mail shots and putting things together, and can't think of the name of the people there, but anyway, I did that for only for a year because it was promoted by the government. What do they call it? Oh dear. And it gave you a year's, then you had to leave, and somebody else got a job. So I left there after my year, and I saw an advert in the Echo for a rubber inspector. But it was to do with the Foley refinery. One of the byproducts of making cracking oil was rubber. They got rubber, and used to get great big blocks of rubber, massive great blocks of it. And over at Wolston, they had a workshop over there, and they had the quality control going on this rubber inspector, see? And if it passed quality control, they sent it to Japan for tyre making. And the idea was that I would go over there and look after this place. Anyway, there was half a dozen of us went for this interview, but I didn't know at the time, but it was done through Manpower, which was a recruiting agent, and I didn't get the job. Some bloke got a job with a degree, but I had a note from Manpower saying that they were sorry I didn't get the job, but did I mind if they kept me on their books? I said no, sorry enough, you didn't find me a job. Only 2 days later I got a letter to say that they had arranged an interview with me at B&Q, which in those days was down at Nelson Gate in Commercial Road. The bottom of Hill Lane, a big concrete building there, Nelson Gate, that was where it was. And they wanted a chauffeur handyman. See? So I said, right, I'll go for an interview. So I went to interview, and I met a bloke named Alan Foster, a little tiny bloke. I didn't know then, he was the managing director of B&Q. So he met me on the ground floor, took me up in the lift to his office on the 8th floor, beautiful office. We sat on the settee, had my yarn, coffee, biscuits, And what he wanted was somebody to drive him home at 2 o'clock in the morning when he was pissed. That was the sort of, he didn't say that, but that was the gist of it, Because he used to go to all these meetings, with the suppliers and all that sort of thing. And he invariably end up 3 sheets to the wind, and he wanted somebody to drive home. And I turned the job down. I said, no, I'm sorry. I said, I got a job to drive the missus about, never mind about anybody else. We had a laugh. And he said, oh, that's okay. He said, but don't go. He said, I think you've got a job that might suit you. So he took me down to see the director of personnel director. And apparently they'd been looking for some time for a handyman to do all the odd jobs at the office because they didn't have anybody to do anything. And when they explained it to me, I said, yeah, I'll have a go at that, that's fair enough, I mean. So that's how I got to be at B&Q. And in those days I was stationed in the post room because I had nowhere to, I didn't have a workshop or anything in those days, in there. And it was good, I enjoyed it then. And then in 1987, no, before that, let's talk about it before that. Alan Foster, the chief executive, used to go abroad quite a lot with, to meet foreign suppliers and all that sort of thing. And this particular time in 1985, because I joined there in May 84. And in 85, he went abroad, and when he came back, he was taken ill with a bad stomach. And the bloke he'd taken on to be his chauffeur then got in touch with me and said, Alan's very bad. He said I had to get the doctor to him. Because he lived at Albridge, outside of Romsey. And they got the doctor to him, and he diagnosed some stomach trouble. And a couple of days later, his liver failed. They whipped him into hospital. He died the next day. He caught some tropical disease while he was over there. So he then had no managing director. So I went to his funeral up at Surrey, where he came from. He had his funeral was up there and everybody went. Of course it was packed. Yeah. As well as the church, there must have been about 300 people outside for the service, because he knew so many people, you can understand. He was a lovely bloke. And then I drove some of them back. They took the big cars up and I drove some of them back to the office. And it was Alan Foster, who died, that started to put together the move to Portrait House from down there, because we were expanding there. But of course he died before he could do it. So in 1987, around Easter time, is when they moved from down there up there, and that was some upheaval, I tell you. And I spent some time up there while the contractors were still building it, or fitting it out, doing all the fire exit signs and all that sort of odd stuff, fire extinguishers, sighting those and all that sort of thing. So it's quite exciting times. I enjoyed that. And then at the back end of 1987, of course, we had Prince Charles came down to officially open the office. He was a great friend of this other bloke. So you remember it, don't you? Portrait House. How many doors were there in Portrait House? Corridor doors, I mean.
I could probably sit here and work it out. Oh God, because it was rounded squares.
There were 24.
24.
24. And just before Charlie came, I had to make 48 wooden wedges and paint them black. to hold the doors open so Charlie could have a straight walk through. Because they were fire doors most of them, weren't they? You know, you should never leave them open really. But this day, we had them all open. That's what I had to do. So just before he came, I opened out all the doors and put these wedges in to make sure the doors were open. Then I went back into my workshop, got a cup of coffee out of the, and I let him get on with it. I never even saw him. I never went to see him. All the girls were outside, waving to him and all this. Bloody crap.
And you, what do you think of the royal family?
Yeah. They're there. We pay for them. I suppose they do good in one way. They bring a lot of tourism to this country, don't they? But it costs us a lot of money to keep them going. So I don't know.
But you've mounted the pictures of the Queen there on your wall. That must mean something to you. To receive that recognition from the Queen.
Well, only that they sent us the card, but they didn't do it. It was your mum and Wendy that did it.
All right.
I mean, they had to apply for it. It didn't just get automatically sent to you. The only one you get automatically sent to you is if you reach 100. But no, the girls did that. They got in touch with them and we didn't even know we were getting the second one. And did you see the envelopes that they came in? Had a dire warning on there to the postman. This has to be delivered by 9 AM on the 10th of May or else there'll be trouble, like, sort of thing. That's what it says on the letter. It was, so we were delivered too.